Pam. I was so excited when she posted her video last week. Not her video, her comment about gardening, because this is something that I've been wanting to get going, and Pam is a huge resource. Gosh, I don't know, Pam. I don't know how long ago we met. We've never actually met in person, but we certainly know each other well. But
a year in June.
Was it a year in June? She was a gardening crazy people. Her and her husband have so much skill in this. And I've done gardens and I've started them from starts, but I was like, well, I think this is totally an appropriate thing to do because it's great for keto. And right now, Pam will tell you, her nurseries are closing down because they're not considered essential. And so right now is a good time if you're wanting to garden to get started. So I'm going to turn it over to Pam and let her teach us some of these amazing things, because let me show you this right here on my screen. I've got my cups and I've got my seeds all ready to go. So I've been labeling them and I'm going to get them all ready here. But I'm going to learn from you first before I do it, because I'm still a little bit intimidated. So you go, you get to take over the show, and if I think of questions, I'll let you know.
Hi everybody, I'm Pam McKay. I hope your Easter was blessed and it was a gentle day for you. Like Jennifer said, our garden centers are closed. So we need to grow fruits and herbs by seed now. We're going to do a little garden show and show you how to do that. Now, first I'm going to talk about containers. Anything can be a container. It can be a coffee cup. It could be little plastic bowls, coffee cup, a planter. It could even be an egg crate. Anything that you could put dirt in, that you could put a seed in, is a container. I typically use little Dixie cups, but I didn't have any. So what I did have were these coffee cups. And I like coffee cups and Dixie cups because you can write down what it is that you planted in this, because the older I get, the more I forget. So I need to be able to know what's on this. You can also go to little garden centers and buy these little containers. You could also, this is a spring mix. You can also plant in these, so that when they start growing, you just cut these little squares out and put each square in a pot, and then it'll grow. I like those. I was able to buy some already pre-grown, started plants, but not all that I normally grow. So we did beefsteak tomatoes, chives. I had jalapenos for salsa, cherry tomatoes, broccoli, lettuce, green onions, spring mix. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that we grew, that we started. So if you don't have anything that you can write on, use popsicle sticks. Write what your herb or your vegetable is on the popsicle stick, stick it in your container. Now I want to talk about seeds. There's all different kinds of seeds and all different sizes. If you come closer, I will show you the different sizes of seeds that I have used. And these are right here are broccoli seeds. These are spring mix seeds. These are jalapeno seeds. And these are cucumber seeds. So you see the difference in sizes. So the bigger the seed, the less size I use. So for a cucumber, I'll use 2 or 3 seeds, because if one seed doesn't sprout, maybe the second seed doesn't sprout, the third one might. So for large seeds, I do 2 or 3. For medium seeds, I'll do 3 or 4 in each container. And then for smaller seeds, I'll do 7 or 8. Now the smaller seeds, if you come closer, if they're so small, I'll just like pick them up basically and just guess how many I have, because they're so small. So planting, when we plant, I'm gonna do a couple for you. Will you come closer? In my soil, if I see like twigs, or sometimes there'll be hard rocks in there, I don't like those in my seeds. So I use my large serving spoon, and I'll fill halfway, more than halfway in the cup. And this is a Pampered Chef pastry thing. I just gently poke it down. Then I take my finger and I go halfway down into the dirt to make a hole. So these are the jalapeno seeds. So then I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say 4. And then I'll get more soil. Pack that down a little bit. You don't want to pack it too hard, so it makes it hard for them to sprout out. But if you see, I've left enough area above the dirt to be able to water, because if you water by and you can do this, if you water by a watering jug, when you have all these plants over here, that dirt is going to shoot out of your container. So I learned that I just use a squirt bottle and I just squirt it down. If, like with these, I just take my squirt bottle and run it all the way around. Makes it really easy, and you're not wasting water. See how the dirt is moving around?
I think that is the coolest thing. I'm gonna totally do that to water them, because usually I water them and all the dirt comes up, and I have uncovered my seeds before when I've tried seeding.
Yeah, and these broccoli seeds, these broccoli sprouts, they're only a week old. And so they're so tender and young that you want to be very gentle with them. So then I just go around and I just water all my plants that way. It's so much easier. So that was a jalapeno plant. Let's do one more. We'll do the cube plants. And like I said, yes?
Pam, while you're getting that one ready, can you tell me, like, when I went to the nursery on Saturday, they recommended a potting soil. I got an organic potting soil, and he told me it would be great for starting vegetables. So is that what you would recommend, is just a basic potting soil?
Yes, 3 of the cucumber seeds because they're bigger. Yes, I always use organic potting soil for my deck herbs and my lettuce garden. We have a probably our garden out back is probably 80 by 40. I want to say maybe 90 by 50. It's huge. So for 30 years, we've been, turning that soil over. So I don't worry so much about that soil. But when I plant in pots, herbs in pots like this, it's always an organic soil. Just because I feel like when we eat grass-fed beef, whatever the animal eats, we eat. So whatever soil you use and you grow in your herb is what you're going to do too. So you want it organic. So I did the cucumber again. It's very simple. It's soil, seed, water. Even like I said, in regards to the egg crate, you can just stick your finger in there, put your seed, cover it up, water it, and let it go.
So when let me see here if I'm on mute. No, when you are doing the egg crates and stuff, we'll talk about transplanting later, because I want you to come on and show us how to transplant them and to move them into the other thing. But like for me, I'm ready to do this today, but we're getting snow on Thursday. So obviously, and I don't have a lot of sunlight because I have a tent on my windows, but you said it would be okay if they weren't in the sunlight right now.
For a couple days, maybe 3, 4, 5 days until you get your garden tent, or until in whoever's area warms up. I mean, it's going to take weeks for them to sprout and to be big enough like this plant to grow for my garden. Your garden may be different. You may have little garden beds where you're not so worried about animals eating all the tender shoots, where we are, because they have eaten them. So I wouldn't worry too much if you just get them. Like today, if you look, it's pretty cloudy here. So they're getting light, but not direct sunlight.
Okay.
In regards to watering, in the beginning, I do water my plants. The first week I did every other day, but now I am seeing that the warmer it gets out, the more sun, the drier the soil is going to be. So if you touch I think I might have already said that. Okay, I did. So if you touch the top of your soil and it feels damp, leave it alone. Water it the next day. If you touch the top of your soil and you can feel dryness and it's dry, water it. Now, I'm going to end up watering every day as hotter it gets. I may even water twice a day if it gets really hot and there's too much sun. I put my plants in these tins so I can move them around my table if something is getting too much sun. I can take them off of my table, wherever. That's why I like these. It catches the dirt, and it allows me to move them around. Now, when it comes to planting into the ground, like I said, it'll take 6 weeks, and maybe Jennifer and I will do that once it's ready to go on the ground. But I like to let my plants get about 6, 7, 8 inches tall before I put them in the garden. Now, when you're going to plant into your garden, I was telling Jennifer about this. You see all these little tiny leaves right here? I'm going to pinch them off, because the more leaves there are on this plant, the more the plant has to work to get its nutrients to it. So when we put tomato plants in our garden, in the ground out back, we always snip everything up so that all the plant can get the nutrients that it needs. Also, you're going to want to read the back of your seed packet, because it will tell you how much sun it gets, how much water, how deep to plant it, when you can harvest it, when you can sow your plant. So it's always good to reference the back. It'll tell you some plants take 10 days, some take 6 weeks to grow. So it just depends on, again, where you live, what your soil is like, and what your sun is like. You can water every day, whatever. Someone asked me, how do we keep animals from eating our tender young shoots? And we go to, where do we get it? Gordon Food Service, and we buy those big, huge containers of hot cayenne pepper, so that we will go into our garden, and this isn't on my deck with my herbs and stuff. It's out back where all the animals are. We will get this hot cayenne pepper, and we sprinkle it right on top of the leaves. We sprinkle it all around the base of the plant, and we sprinkle it all around the perimeter of the garden. Squirrels, rabbits, groundhogs love tender young shoots, but we have found that after about 6 weeks, they leave them alone.
So the cayenne pepper doesn't burn the leaves? I would have totally thought it would have.
We've been doing it for years. Scott goes
That's awesome.
He goes into the garden barefoot, and it doesn't burn his feet. But the thing of it is for the first 6 weeks or so, you want to protect those tender plants, because, again, rabbits, squirrels, rodents, they're going to eat that tender stuff, and they hate the cayenne pepper. So it has saved us. So we will do it. This is our process. Scott will wake up in the morning, turn the sprinkler on in the garden, walk for his hour, come home, turn the sprinkler off. Then if it's a really hot day, we will water again about 4 o'clock so that the soil dries a little bit, and we can go in there at dusk and put that cayenne pepper all over everything, because everybody knows wild animals come out at night. Wild animals come and eat your plants at night. So we also do not water at night. So after our second watering, and we put the cayenne pepper all over everything, it settles down onto the plant, into the ground. And then the next day, if we water, we wash it away. So we have to do this heavily for like the first 4 or 5 days, and then we lighten up every day after.
Well, will that help with tomato plants and the caterpillars, or no?
Wait, say that again?
tomato plants, like, and caterpillars? Will it help with those type of?
So in our neck of the woods, we really haven't had to deal with too many of those. Although we do have broccoli. What are they called, Scott? They're just worms that we just pick off by hand. You know, when we see them.
So I was going to show you. I don't know. Can you see the garden boxes there? I know you can't.
I can't really see.
Maybe can show you. What you have is what I grew up with my parents having. But one thing that we do, just because different places have different type of little varmints and bugs, is we can take some screening or netting and put it over the top of the box too, because our plants are down inside it. So there's lots of different ways, I think, of doing that, which is great. I'm totally going to try the cayenne pepper though. That's cool.
Well, the thing of it is don't forget, you have like 70 to 90 days before insertion in the ground and picking. So by the time that 90 days, 70 days hit, you're only doing the first 4 weeks, say, of cayenne pepper. It's going to wash away. You will never taste it in your food. It doesn't harm the plant. It is the only natural source that we use, because I want all organic. We put no pesticides, nothing on our plants, because I want it to be as healthy as possible. So, you know, that's what we found that works for us. So
I think it's great. I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, it really does work, but you have to go heavy the first couple days, and then you can lighten up as time goes by, and just watch your plants. If you see, you know, because they will eat, they'll eat this, and you'll just have like a little stem left.
And we can come back on when it's time to plant them and do that.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to worry about that too much right now. We'll come back on and we can show them exactly how you do it. Because I need to see. I'm a visual person.
Yeah. I'll help in any way I can. I want to also show you, if you want to order seeds, if you can't get them, I use this. It's called Seeds of Change. It's an organic company that I've ordered seeds from, and I really like them. You can also get seeds from ACO. You know, even your grocery stores may have seeds. So look for them. This was from last year. I just happened to go out to my barn and go, oh my God, look at it. It's just chives. It grew all winter in my barn.
There we go. Yep, we're back. What would you say to people who, you know, I have a little experience gardening, and obviously I have a place that I can garden. I live in a very rural area, like it's a cow pasture behind me, and you have a beautiful yard with a big garden. What about people who live in a metro area? Maybe they don't have a yard. Maybe they live in an apartment building. What's something that they could do if they wanted to get into the gardening a little bit?
Definitely this, because this is small enough where you can sit this on a windowsill.
And then once the stuff is bigger, they would just plant it in a little bit bigger pot, right?
Yes, they can plant it in a bigger pot. Your plant is going to grow the size of the pot. What, honey?
5-gallon bucket.
Another thing is 5-gallon buckets. If you
like out on your back porch, if you have a little patio or something.
Yeah, 5-gallon buckets. Watering troughs. You and I talked about that yesterday, about how people are now buying big, huge cow watering troughs, and they're planting in that. That has nothing to do with, like, you know, urban, but something like this, or small stuff that's going to fit on a windowsill that you can line up, and then you just transplant them. And so Scott made me something I'm going to want to talk about maybe another time, Jennifer, is lettuce.
Yeah.
Because I love fresh grown lettuce. Scott made me a lettuce table. So
I'm trying to figure out how I can get Scott here to make me one.
It's really easy. Go on YouTube. He made it. Come here, honey. Just so that you can see. the inside of it, of how there's like a chicken wire and then a netting.
Oh.
And then you just fill it with soil, and I plant 9 plants in each one. He also made me these benches, and I put all my pots of herbs on my benches so that when I want something to add it to a dish, I just come out here and snip it off.
Yeah. Oh my
that
gosh.
little
Such a good
garden.
garden. Well, and another thing that I learned my first year here was herbs are really good in their own little pot, but when they're in your garden, they kind of take over.
They do. And that's another thing someone asked me in our challenge group. Jennifer asked me, there's only 2 of us. How do I know how much to plant? For me, normally I probably have 10 or 15 tomato plants here. We only grow normally 4 because there's just the 2 of us. So that they produce a lot of tomatoes. So, but this year I planted for anybody that I can give plants to. We need to help each other at this time in our lives with what our world's going through. So neighbors, family, friends, I'm going to give these plants to. So in regards to Jennifer asking, how do you know how much to plant? Right now, I would start with 4 each if there's only 2 of you, because if only 2 sprout, then you have 2. If you have 4, then you grow them and you give it away. So you
can always thin it out too if you need to. One
Right.
year I did a grape tomato, a pear tomato, a big giant tomato, and a regular, and my husband was like, we were giving tomatoes to everybody. There were so many. It was funny. It was almost comical.
I know, that's how ours is. And another thing to keep in mind is that when we go later on down, Scott and I will do a video of planting in our garden. How about that? But you have to also keep in mind that things like spaghetti squash, cucumbers, pumpkins, zucchini, they are spreaders.
They are
huge.
huge.
Spread like crazy. So what we do, because our garden gets really, really hot, Scott will plant 1 zucchini, 1 spaghetti squash, 1 cucumber plant all together in one pile, because the flora protects the plants and allows it to grow fuller.
Wait a minute. What? Okay, tell me what that was. Well, we could talk about that when we're transplanting them, I guess.
Any kind of a viney thing that grows out. Like zucchini has big, huge leaves, which protect the cucumber, little tiny leaves and plants that shades them when there's too much sun in our garden. So
that is so smart.
That's a really good tip. But the only thing, though, is that like a third of our garden is like a wild mess of all of this stuff. So we have to go in there and pick up plants and look for stuff, which is fine. We have learned over the years, we have to do that in our garden. Your garden may be different, just to be able to get cucumbers to grow, because they need a lot of shade and they need a lot of water, because they're a water-based plant. And is there anything else?
No, I think you did awesome. I'm excited just to get my seeds in, and I'm going to challenge people who want to do this. I don't care if it's 1 cup, just something. It's like reminds me of the little preschool kids that do 1 green bean, and they're so excited when that green bean sprouts. But I think it's a lot of fun, and we could have a lot of fun doing this. What I was going to tell you is, somebody in the group made a comment. They are in California and they're really struggling with their soil, being able to grow something. She used some terms. You'll have to go read the comment. I didn't understand everything she said. And I know my mom in the past, she's told me there's some horticulture specialist with the state that you can call and ask about the soil in your area. And I was studying last night, and one of the things, I think I texted you, that I thought was so cool is it said areas where the soil has a hard time holding the water in, it's a more sandy soil, that bentonite clay mixed into the soil will hold the water, because it holds 3 to 5 times its weight in water. And the one that we have holds 30 times its weight.
That's excellent.
So
Jennifer,
I'm thinking,
go ahead.
I'm thinking I'm going to use the bentonite clay here because we get a lot of pebbles and stones and rocks and sandy stuff in our soil. I'm totally going to use the bentonite clay.
Well, that's what Jennifer Richardson was saying. She lives in Florida, so her soil is real sandy.
Yeah.
And so you need to be able to mix some garden soil into your soil. If it's full of clay, if it's full of sand, you can use, like Jennifer, you since you're like in cow country, manure. We have used, what did we use? What's that white powder we use?
Lime.
Oh, we've used lime in our garden, 12, 12, 12, to bring up all the nutrients. So that's another thing you can do. But you definitely want to know what kind of soil that you have.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And I think to do that, they're going to probably have to talk to specialists in their areas on that.
And another thing, Scott said colleges will help you. If you go to your local community college or greenhouses, you know, just take a sample of your soil to a greenhouse if and when they ever open, if there's some in your area, and say, can you test my soil for me? I need to know what to put in it so I can grow. And will, for free, they'll do that to help you because they know that you're going to come back and you're going to buy product from them.
No, that's amazing. Well, I think all the tips that you gave are awesome. It's actually making me really excited. I actually went on Amazon, I told you, and ordered a little small greenhouse. It's small. It was like $50. That was it. And I'm going to put that up outside. So I'll show you all what that looks like when I'm done. But Pam, if we can check in, I would like to check in regularly and see how the seeds are going. And when it's time to plant them in the garden, I'm going to need your help in just caring for them because I am one of those people in the past that I've had gardens and by the end of summer, I'm kind of like over it. And so I really want to have the full experience this year and take it from beginning to end and just enjoy it because there's just so many things that we are not in control of right now. I feel like this is going to be a lot of fun, a fun project to do. And so vegetables are so important to this keto lifestyle. And so pick vegetables that work for you. I am doing some watermelons and cantaloupes because I have kids. I have teenagers. And so if I can give them something that we've grown, and we're doing jack-o'-lanterns too, like we picked some fun things. But this has been really, really great. Do you have anything else that you want to add before we come on again?
Well, the only thing for me is, you know, since we're in lockdown here in Michigan, we're not supposed to leave our homes unless it's to go for medical help or grocery shopping. So I am bored. This gives me something every day that I can take care of, that I can tend to, that I can focus on. I talk to my plants. I'm like, oh, you're doing so well. Look at how big you're getting. It's silly. But it makes me feel good. And knowing that I can help feed other people once this is done makes it all the more reason why I want to do this. Not only for my own health, but for friends and family and neighbors' health too. So that's why I wanted to.
I love that.
I want to share that with everyone.
And I wholeheartedly believe that about you. From the moment I talked to Pam, the first time I knew she was all about helping others. So this is a great way for you to do that. I have one question on seeds before we go because I'm going to do my seeds today. So I have these egg cartons. Let me get them here. That I've been saving because they are the cardboard, and I thought that maybe that I would be able to use them. So here's my question. Is there a particular seed that I would plant in this? Because how do you replant these? Do you just take the little section out?
Yeah, I would use your smaller seeds since it's a smaller section, you know, because you're going to have to stick your finger in there and then put the seeds in and add a little more soil. There's not that much room on the sides here to pile up soil. So the smaller the seed, probably the better for this.
Okay, because I have a couple of those, and I thought that might be good. Oh, well,
And then
no, I think that'll work.
then you can just take your scissors or a knife maybe and cut them. And then once you cut them, and if there's a sprout, you can gently just take a spoon and dump it into a pot or whatever you're going to grow it.
Okay. That's what I
bigger.
wondered. I think I was wondering how you're going to get it out of there to get it planted somewhere else, but a spoon makes sense actually.
Yep. And you want this to get dry, because if it's dry when you
Before
take
you
it out, it'll like cling together. You know what I mean? The soil will cling together.
Yeah.
Where if it's wet, it might crumble apart.
Nope, that totally makes sense. Okay, well, we're going to come back. I'm going to check in with you regularly, and we'll show people the progress. And anybody who's doing them, share. I'm trying to figure out how, if I can just keep this event. So in the events, it'll only let you schedule them for 2 weeks long. So I'm hoping that as we keep going, I can just extend that date so we can just keep everything in the same thing. But if for some reason I can't, I'll figure it out. Maybe we'll create a little keto gardening group or something on the side for the people who want to be in. So we'll figure it out. Go ahead. You're good.
Okay. I was just going to say, the next time we do this, like I said, I'd like to talk about lettuce. So once my sprouts are up for my lettuce, then we'll do my lettuce table. How I plant it, how it looks, how you prune, how you pick the leaves. So it should be good.
Keep me posted on that one, and we'll watch you replant them. And now it's making me want to go out and get some lettuce.
Oh, you need to.
That means I have to make a box.
Yeah, you need a table. Because let me tell you something, squirrels have come on my deck. Rabbits have come on my deck and ate my lettuce. That's why Scott made me that table, because I had them in just little boxes, little containers, and they came right on my deck and demolished it all. So I'm like,
Could you use a baby pool up on top of a table? Or does it need to be able to drain with that net?
You could, that's perfect, because you could poke holes in that plastic turtle pool, baby pool. And that's perfect.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
I'm just trying to think outside the box. That's maybe what I'll go see if I can find something like that. Okay, I could just talk apparently about this all day long. So I'm going to go plant my seeds. If anybody has questions, just put them here in the group and we will answer them. Probably Pam will answer them, but I'll pretend. Okay.
I'm excited.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Yep. Thanks for watching.